Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Some people just want to be angry. I've never been able to figure out why. Fortunately, they can be pretty easy to spot. It's the uppity tone in their voice. Dead giveaway. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Karen didn't pay attention to middle school math, evidently. When I was in high school, I worked weekends as a waitress. Pretty big national chain, no alcohol, very family-friendly, wholesome environment. We had one of those specials where for $7.99 you could pick either a soup or a side salad, entree, and a side. Because of the various combinations you could make, it was advertised like hundreds of options for only $7.99. I don't remember the specifics anymore, but I'm sure you get the idea. This youngish, mid-30s, couple comes in and gets seated in my section. By the way, this is the kind of place where the host gives you the menu as they take you to the table, so the couple already had their menus. I walk over to greet them, but before I can even take their drink order, the woman goes, "So what are these $7.99 meals?" I explain to her how the special works and show her the options. She goes, "Yeah, I get that, but what are the meals?" I again point out the various options for each category. Here's the soups, here's the entrees, here's the side dishes. She just lets out this exasperated sigh, and her husband says, "Look, you guys are saying you offer hundreds of options. We want to know what those hundreds of options are." I honestly thought they were joking. So I said something like, I don't know exactly how many meals you could make, but it's definitely a lot. The woman then interjects again and says, "You guys are the ones making the claim, so you're going to prove it. We're going to sit here and go through this menu option by option, and we'll see just how many meals we can make." Mind you, I'm like 17 years old. I'm just not getting paid enough to deal with this bullcrap on a Saturday morning. So I go and get my manager. Once my manager started talking to them, I wasn't able to hear the entire conversation because I had other tables to take care of, but the overall gist of their complaints were about the fact that the company, not our store, but the entire company had recently raised prices on some menu items. This was during the '08 recession. And that by advertising this deal, we were somehow scamming customers out of money by not being able to prove that there were actually at least 100 different meals you could make. I don't know. It ended with Karen throwing the menus at my manager threatening to call the cops, and Karen shouting, "We're never eating here again," as her husband tried to shove her out of the door. And our second story. A crazy mom screams at me for not helping out in the ED. Hi, I'm a 28-year-old doctor and my specialty is in clinical chemistry, chemical pathology, biochemistry, and laboratory medicine, so I usually don't interact with patients much anymore. This happened during my specialization training and it still makes me shake my head. My colleague and friend in another department suddenly developed seizures in the middle of the night. Her husband contacted me as I often helped her before they were married, and I was taking a midnight stroll in the campus as I was on call for the lab. I went to emergency and got all her papers ready. My junior from alma mater was studying emergency medicine and she helped expedite things. My friend arrived the same time another family involved in an accident arrived. Since my friend was still seizing, my junior asked if I could place an IV for the time being because they needed to look at the family involved in the accident while the neurologist arrived. No problem. The ED was extremely busy and I was ready to help. I did everything for my friend as one of the nursing officers handed me the anti-epileptic drug while her husband, also a doctor but in another hospital, stayed by to make sure she's comfortable. That was when suddenly the ED went dark and the beeping got annoying. JK. This mother, crazy mother CM, tapped on my shoulder. CM. Hi, can you help me? Me. Hi, sorry, I'm not an ED doctor, but I can guide you to whom you should see. CM. Aren't you a doctor? Me. Yes, but I'm not part of the ED. I'm here for my friend. CM. So, since you helped your friend, can you take a look at my child? Me. I'm sorry, but I cannot. I cannot take responsibility as I'm not a part of the emergency team, and neither am I posted here. When my friend in the ED gets better, I shall ask her to take a look. CM. But you helped your friend? Me. Yes, because the team is busy with an accident, and since it's my friend, all I did was set an EV so that she'll be stable till they can come and check on her. CM. So why can't you help me? I'm tired of waiting, and my child is uncomfortable. Me, tired now. Lady, I am not an emergency doctor, nor am I on duty. I cannot help you or take responsibility should something happen. Please wait for the emergency doctor to be free. Why don't you go to the registration counter? They'll ensure someone looks at your child. CM, I cannot leave my child alone. Why can't you take a look at him? Me, sighing. Where's your child now and what is wrong? I cannot give any advice or do anything because I am not a part of the posted emergency team, but I can inform them. CM, I need you to look at him. He fell down and is crying. Me, just wait. Once an emergency doctor comes, I'll send them your way. CM, now grabbing my arm, you will see him right now. Friend's hubby pulling me away and blocking CM, you will leave her alone. She is not a part of the emergency team. Stop harassing her. CM, help, help, they're assaulting me. A nurse charge, NC, finally ran in asking what's wrong. I knew NC as we're part of the same Christian prayer group, so she asked my side first. I explained about my friend and how CM was forcing me to help her son when I cannot. NC, CM, OP is a doctor, but she's not posted nor a part of our emergency team. We needed her to help her friend because we're super busy. But that's it, she cannot help you. CM, stop giving excuses. You just don't want to help me. You, me, now help me with my son or I will complain. Me, now annoyed. Go ahead. I turned away as NC was dealing with CM as the neurologist had arrived and I had to talk with her and friend's hubby. I thought that was it. Wrong. As my friend got better and I was helping another nurse change the IV bag while she gave my friend another dose of anti-epileptic drug, my hand was suddenly pulled, nearly causing me to pull at the IV. CM had grabbed me. Me, now really angry. What the hell? You again? What are you doing? You nearly made me rip off her IV line. CM, this is the doctor who refused to help me. I want her license canceled. Turns out she dragged the emergency medical officer, the senior doctor watching over everything, to complain. The EM officer blinked as she knew I did not work in the ED unless I was posted there, which I was not. EM officer, she doesn't work here. CM, yes she does. She was fixing that woman's IV. EM officer, she is part of the hospital, but she does not work on the ED. Since she's a doctor, she was just helping her friend, but that's it. She can't look at your child unless I tell her to. CM, stop lying. Why are you covering for her? She's the worst. Friend's hubby, EM officer, take this lady away. My wife's not well and she's been harassing OP too much. OP's already going out of her way to be polite. EM officer agreed and turned to CM. EM officer, I saw your child. He's fine. We're swamped today, especially since we had an entire family be admitted here. If you continue to create a ruckus, we'll ask you to leave and maybe even ban you. CM, but I did nothing wrong. It's her, me, fault. EM officer, firmly, you have two options. You either leave them alone or you leave. CM left us alone, grumbling as I heaved a sigh of relief. My friend had recovered, so we decided to have her discharged and have her checked up on in the morning. As we were leaving, we saw CM glare at us and mouth swear words at us, but we ignored her. Friend's hubby apologized, but I told him not to worry as none of it was his fault. Next morning, the story had spread in the whole hospital, and my guide told me to be firm and not entertain people who were like CM. Some days I'm glad I'm in laboratory medicine and not in the ED. Edit. This is happening in a government medical college and hospital. In India, doctors are also trained to be able to place an IV line and at occasions push medicines as well. It's the first thing we get trained in clinical postings. We're short on staff, so we make sure everyone's capable to do the basic things like placing an IV line. I don't do it much now because of my specialty, but I still draw blood and occasionally help out in the ED. And our last story. Don't touch the tomatoes. This happened to my mother recently. For context, the neighbor and her have driveways that are side by side with a small patch of dirty gravel and weeds between that's basically no man's land and is just there. It's about 1.5 feet wide, runs the length of the driveway, and no one really takes care of it, leaving it as a border. My mom also has plenty of tomatoes growing in the backyard, including cherry tomatoes that are a favorite of crows stealing and other birds. Now, this spot was a favorite for birds to drop the tomatoes or pick them apart because there were no dogs there while they were in the backyard or main yards, or at least that's how my mom tells it. Eventually, the seeds sprout and there are small tomato plants starting to grow. Noticing them, my mom begins to water them regularly as she waters her front yard plants, as she has to walk by them with the hose anyway. This leads to cherry tomato plants sprouting and becoming incredibly fruitful between the driveways. After a while, they were disappearing, and my mom figured it was a combination of the birds and the wife of the neighbor couple because she was home all day. My mom didn't care because these were just chance tomatoes. She had plenty in the backyard garden, and it was just nice to have something more than dirt and gravel between the driveways. All was dandy until my mom went to grab a few snacks on while she was working in the front yard, and the woman next door confronted her. She told my mother those were not her tomatoes and she needed to leave them alone. The neighbor woman continued that the patch of dirt and gravel was on her property, not my mother's, though our water meter was in it, and ultimately it was like a 50-50 split if you even cared to look, which when it was nothing, no one cared to. So rather than argue with her, Mom said it was fine and she'd leave them alone. A few weeks later, they had started to dry up and die without the frequent watering from my mom, eventually ending in the dirt and gravel patch becoming just that again. I like the term chance tomatoes. I think botanists call plants like that volunteer plants. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.